Today's video is going to be super boring. I'm taking all my scrap pallet wood and making a fancy lampshade. Thanks for clicking play or welcome to the video. If you do subscribe or follow my channel, it has been a while since I last uploaded, so I wanted an easy video to get myself into the groove. But that easy video was a bit of a failure, so I've had to do something else. So instead, I've decided to fix this broken lampshade in my living room. I came across this design online. I'm not going to buy any wood. Let's see what scrap pallet wood I have left, get chopping and figure it out as we go along. Let's go! That bit shouldn't have been the tricky bit. In my head, drop saw, cut the angles, done. But I forgot about maths and trigonometry and angles and all those things. And that triangle is also far smaller than it's supposed to be, so I need to make bigger ones. Horrible! It's supposed to be easy! Now that we have all the angles cut, I've got to figure out how to stick them together, and I've decided to try do one of those fancy joins. The fancy joint I'm talking about is where you put a groove down there, stick a piece of wood in, and then stick the other one on and it works and looks nice.
So I did a cut on the circular saw to see if it would fit in, and obviously it didn't. I kept the fence thing in the same position, shimmed it out with a piece of aluminium to shave a tiny bit off, and it fit.
Everything is going far too smoothly for one of my projects, and it's not going to be entertaining if something doesn't go wrong. So, have a look at my triangles.
At some point, my jig moved, and almost every piece is now 1 degree out. So I've got to cut every single piece again. I decided to do a quick test cut this time, and it still wasn't quite right. One more little adjustment, another test cut, and it seems pretty perfect. I can't be bothered making it any straighter than that.
I fixed one problem and traded it for another problem. To join the triangles together, I was going to cut a groove, get a piece of wood, stick it in, push the other one on. Done. The gap on my table saw that the blade comes out of is too wide, and some of these pieces are too thin. So when I try to cut them, they're not going to be straight and they might even fall in. I could solve this problem by making a table jig thing, but I'm already not liking this light, so I can't be bothered. I'm going to find the easiest, quickest way to stick these together.
But first I need to sand all the pieces flat and smooth and all that jazz. After giving the triangles a quick coat of varnish, on both sides obviously, I stacked them up to see what it'd look like, and it looks really cool. But there's a problem. It doesn't actually let any light out of the sides. It lets a tiny bit of light, but that means my living room is going to be quite dark. So I started playing around with a few other configurations, which also looked cool, but didn't let any light out the sides. I then tried this last setup, which let a lot more light out of the sides, but it still wasn't great, so we need to fix this. I used the offcuts to space out the triangles and it looks horrible, but it does let a lot more light through, so I've got to find a nicer way of doing this.
Ooh.
Right, this thing definitely looks better with the spacers. The entire thing looks more interesting, it lets more light through, but I put the spacers in the middle and they look terrible. I've now put the spacers at the corner and they still look hideous. But it lets the light pass through and it looks far more interesting than just sticking them to each other. I'm really fed up with this project, so I'm just going to screw it together and see what it looks like. Whoa, there it is. It is quite heavy. Now I've got to figure out how to hang it, which should be quite simple, famous last words. But I also have to figure out how to attach the light. It should be straightforward, but it...
I completely forgot about mounting the light in the middle, so I'm going to use some of the existing bits and just kind of stick it on somehow, I guess. And there it is, an absolutely horrible lampshade made out of pallet wood. Like the picture I started with, it looks really cool from the bottom. Every other angle is absolutely horrible. So it's going straight in the bin and I'm starting again. I didn't want this video to drag on much longer, so I'm doing the most basic square design I can think of.
Okay, now these are all the same width, but they are not the same thickness. But more important than that, they are all different colours. So, time for a super interesting sanding time lapse. Now it's time to assemble it, and that is going to be tricky. So originally I was going to stick it together, but then I thought there is only a small area of contact and the light bulb gets warm. So that might heat the glue and just let them fall to pieces. So I'm going to try and nail them together, but this is going to be very tricky because the pieces are thin, and I've got to try and make sure I'm not hitting one nail on top of the next nail. I also have to space these out so they're in exactly the same position as well.
Everything you want, but you can't have. Number one regret, no take backs. The hole in your chest, that's payback. Payback, yeah, you better take that. You could call me selfish and critical, I could take the blame. Just like I could take a match and send it up in flames. Don't say I didn't want that. This might hurt, but that's just karma. Better take that.
And there you have it, not just one lampshade, but two, even though the first one didn't turn out as well as I expected. I didn't want to throw it in the bin or set it on fire, so I actually changed how it looked, and I still didn't like it, so I've put it in the back of my workshop up there. I'm not sure if you can see. Just as a bit of a reminder that not all my projects are going to go that well. Looks alright hung up there, it's a bit of decoration for the YouTube videos. Now, I do want to give a big thank you for people who've been liking and commenting and subscribing on all my other videos. It did help inspire me to get off my arse and start doing a few more videos because I do enjoy doing this. It actually inspired me that much that I am trying to complete the project that I said I'd given up on at the start of the video. Fingers crossed this one isn't too far from being done, so hopefully I'll have another video in a few weeks. Anyway, as usual, thanks very much for watching. If you do have any tips, questions, or suggestions, stick them in the comments below, and hopefully I will see you again soon, and not like in another 3 or 4 months. Anyway, thanks for watching.